Well, it's a drunk tank here on Rooster Teeth. Well, it's the drunk tank, and it's on every week. It's not made of steel, but it's very real, so let's get drunk.
Technically, it's the Rooster Teeth podcast, but I won't hold it against him because he submitted that some time ago.
Or people going to hear Drunk Tank, or are you going to dub it? It's the Rooster Teeth podcast.
I'll try to imitate his voice and sing like him. It'll sound terrible. That was a really good intro. That was some guy, I guess, his band. Some guy has a band.
Sounds like Kenny Wayne Shepherd or
Dusty Baker.
Dusty Baker.
Yeah.
That's appropriate.
You think so?
Yeah,
a good rock
that is a
name.
perfect name for it.
Isn't that the name of the old manager for the San Francisco Giants?
Oh,
Wasn't
yeah.
it Dusty Baker?
Yeah.
Was his name?
Oh.
Is this guy leading a double life? It's like he's managing baseball teams and playing blues music for the opening of podcasts.
On his favorite podcast on the internet.
I mean, that's kind of cliche, though, don't you think?
What's that?
What, being a baseball manager and making
making intros for podcasts.
We should do a quick round
He's just a bit done.
We should do a quick round of intros.
Hi, it's Brandon.
Hi, it's Raleigh Fingers. No, nobody knows who that is. That's an old baseball
I know who
player.
Raleigh Fingers is. He had the
He had
mustache.
big
yeah.
mustache. Yeah, this is Matt.
Hey guys, it's Kara.
And Gus. And we're doing a podcast.
Yeah.
Because I think... I don't know where everyone is. There's no one in the building
There's
right
no
now.
one. But can I say this has been the weirdest week of all time for me
Why do you say that?
because no one has been here, and I've been doing all of you fuckers' jobs the entire week, and now I'm going to take a break. In fact, I'm not even going to finish this podcast. I'm going to go in silent right now. You guys can fill in for me.
There you go.
Nobody was here. Who was here? Nobody was here. Gus was gone. Brandon was gone. Jeff's been out. Jack's. I don't know what Jack does. He's around sometimes. Who knows? Joel's gone, and Bernie's been gone. You guys have been gone forever.
Yeah,
like
it's
the
been a
longest
while.
trip of all time.
We almost became New Zealand citizens. There was a strike, like there was a worker strike, and not we're working it out
For the airline.
Sorry, yeah, a strike for the airline, and they just shut it down. They shut off the airline, and we thought we were going to be there forever.
That's not a bad place to be stranded.
No, it's not.
It's a beautiful country.
It is.
So tell us about your exciting adventures in New Zealand, Brandon.
You know, I feel like I should wait for Jeff. Sorry, I should wait for Bernie and Joel because there's another version of every story I have to tell.
Well, I'll talk about London
Okay.
then in the
Like it's a
meantime.
London podcast.
So we'll have a little bit of that's a little bit of a teaser for next week, talking about New Zealand and Australia. But for this week, we'll talk about my exciting adventure in London.
Yay! Boo.
No. It was the event wasn't in. It was MCM Expo. It's not in London, really. It's like way out to the east, like the suburbs. It was like an hour and a half cab ride from Heathrow to get there. And it was like this new area they called Docklands, and there was nothing out there.
That sounds so bad.
It
That
was
sounds
like-
bad already. Why would you name, like, if you're going to name like a new city, you want it to be like Awesome Town.
You're
You're not going to name it Docklands.
It used
Why
to be
does-
like the industrial docks. So it's like an old warehouse/industrial area that they've converted to be like
So why
residential and commercial.
why name it that? That just sounds bad. This sounds like Smellyville, US,
Smellyville.
UK,
Stinkton.
Lynchburg, Virginia. That's a real town.
Yeah, that's not a good name either.
No.
Kara's making a face over there.
But so, I mean, the event was great. The event was fine. Got to meet a lot of cool people, but our merchandise never showed up. So I didn't have anything to do all day sitting in the booth.
Could they not find Stinkton?
Stinkton wasn't on the map
Stinkton,
yet.
Wales, or whatever it was.
So we sat in an empty booth. So all we did all weekend long was just talk to people who came by the booth and explain why we didn't get our stuff.
I can't imagine, like, after the fourth hour, it's like, hey, where's your stuff? I'm not going to tell you until the last guy. Get out of here.
Some people you sold out.
Some people assume that on Sunday when they hear like, "Oh, did you sell out of stuff?" Like, no, I wish. But like I don't understand. Like, there's some people where it's like, I would be like, they would walk up and I'd say, "Oh, I'm sorry, our stuff didn't clear customs," and their response would be, "Oh, what happened?" I'd be like, "Is this person a fucking customs lawyer? Like, are they gonna?"
But you do have to wonder what's going on inside customs. Like all the stuff that comes through there every day. Do they get like DVDs and T-shirts and go, okay, this is serious. We got to pay attention now. Before we were letting drugs come in and out and all kind of crazy shit. But DVDs and T-shirts.
Will not allow this.
Stop the presses.
Hold the phone. Stop the presses.
Yeah. So we spent long hours in the booth not doing anything, just talking to people. And it was good. I think a lot of
It
pictures
seems like
came
there's a
out
lot
of
of
that
cool
event.
pictures, yeah.
That must be difficult though, because you don't like talking to people.
No, I don't. It was really awkward. Lots of hugs. I don't like that either. But there were a lot more people dressed up than I thought there would be. Like, I feel like...
Ben and Gavin.
Yeah. Ben was dressed as Gavin. Gavin was dressed as Ben.
There was more touching on my last trip than any of the previous trips. Like more hugs.
And it was just you and Joel, which is the odd thing.
Yeah, it's just,
Were they down under hugs?
I had to modify the
Get your hand out
way
of my kangaroo pouch.
Joel actually got mad. I had to modify the way we take pictures together.
Why did Joel get mad? I want to hear this.
The whole two hands, like one hand on each shoulder thing, totally not cool.
What do you mean?
You mean he's behind you doing like the fake massage?
No,
What
you're
is-
posing
what
for a
is-
picture, because everybody has to cramp in, like,
Yeah.
just kind of like resting your hands. Oh, I'm going to just kind of come in behind Joel, put my hands right here like we're best friends. Not okay.
You're not best friends.
Not
that's
best friends.
That's what you learn.
Do you like
Yeah.
doggy paws on you? I'm trying to envision this. Like, what was the two hands
was it
thing?
like this? Like, turn around like...
No,
One of
it's
those?
just like, all right, so, you have to be behind, you have to... everybody has to be
Demonstrate on Matt.
Okay.
No,
Show us where you touched him.
No, this is going poorly already. No, okay, yeah, that's not appropriate.
Well, I think we have to do that one more time so I can take a picture for the link dump. Oh, yeah, okay, that's totally going in the link dump.
Yeah,
That way people will
Inappro-
understand.
that's inappropriate
So that's
contact.
that's inappropriate contact.
The issue is, people have to lean over the table, and, everybody has to kind of like mash in together to be able to
Right.
fit the photo. So you gotta do what you can to consolidate, but that's not okay. And then also, just having the one hand is okay the first time, but over the course of the day, it gets like imprinted into Joel's bones. The weight,
Yeah.
apparently. So it's just modifying
Well, luckily,
technique.
since we didn't have any merchandise, we situated our tables so that people could just walk around back, and I wasn't concerned about anyone taking anything
Oh, yeah,
because we didn't have shit.
Right.
So it was
that's
like,
good. Pretty,
yeah, come on in.
Freeform convention then.
Yeah.
But yeah, there were a lot of hugs, which was okay, except for the ones where, like, it's a convention hall, it's hot, there's a lot of people, so eventually, you
Smelling
might
you.
start smelling bad at the end of the day. But if you smell bad at 8 a.m., that's
A bad start.
there's no reason for that.
Yeah.
So this was our first convention in the UK, right?
Yeah.
Did you notice things about it that were different or unusual versus conventions in the States? It seems like the ones we've done in Australia and New Zealand, they're slightly different, but they're very similar to the ones we do in the States.
Yeah, I felt like the entire hall was like an artist alley kind of thing, where there were just like long tables and there were very
Ah.
few booths. There were,
But was it professional like setups and people
Signage
attending
and
in those long tables, or was it really like an artist alley?
it was like an artist alley meets anime stores,
anime. Okay,
like dolls and DVDs and shit like that, and people like selling their own comics and stuff.
okay.
But there were booths that were big, and there was a large video game presence. Like there was, what was there? Like Batman Arkham City was there, but that game had just come out. Saints Row the Third. What else did I see? That new Hitman game. I don't know what was going on. We were right by the Saints Row the Third booth, and it's like a mature game, so they had the entire booth walled off. Like I guess like they check your ID at the entrance, you can go in and play the game or whatever, and then you walk out the other side.
Yeah.
But you can't actually see anything in there because it's a mature game. There might be
Right.
underage people in attendance. And at one morning, like I was sitting at our booth, and I looked over at the Saints Row booth, and I could kind of see into it, like through the exit. And
Is there like black curtains around blocking it off?
no, it's
or-
like this walls. Like they
Oh.
built a room inside.
The way
there.
you're describing like peeking into it reminds me of like when I'm 12 and visiting New Orleans for the first
Yeah,
time and
yeah.
trying to peek into
Well, wait till you hear what I saw.
Yeah. Okay.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
So I look over, and all the employees are having like their morning briefing. They're like all circled around. They're talking, and one of them is standing in like the circle, and he's got like a 4-foot long purple dildo in his hands that's attached to a stick, and he's like waving it at people, like giving people job assignments and telling them what to do, and this like dildo's like slapping them in the face. I was like, what the fuck is going on in there? Like, I'll never feel bad about our work environment here at this company. Like, at least there's not someone with a 4-foot dildo on a stick slapping me in the face.
No, we would only use a 5-foot dildo in the States. I think we all know that.
God, I hope it was out of the box, man.
Hopefully, it wasn't used or anything.
Yeah, and there was the signing area was behind us. Like there was a wall behind us, and like all the signing area, like all the celebrities in quotes, were over there charging £15 for autographs
Lance
or
Henriksen?
£15 for pictures. I didn't recognize any of those people. I don't know.
Were they all from like Doctor Who or some crazy British show?
Not
that we
even.
don't watch?
I think it was like C class even for
Wasn't,
the
there
UK.
had to be some guys over there that Ben was like, "That's the best show on television."
The people from
That was my
the,
Ben
the actors
impersonation. You're welcome, Ben.
the actors from Teen Wolf were there.
Oh, there's a Teen Wolf TV show now,
Yes,
right? Yeah.
and he was
Yeah.
very excited about that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I think those were the biggest names there. There's a bunch of people I didn't recognize, but a bunch of really hot women.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, British TV, I guess.
Do they know about the dildo?
I don't
That's
think
why
they got around
That's
to
why
it.
they were there, man.
But yeah, I'm
Did you
trying
get to see any of London, or did you go hang out with Ben and Gav and like any of the places they like to go?
No. Well, neither of them are from London, so they didn't really know what was going on either. And like to get to the city itself from where we were was like a 40-minute ride on the tube.
On the tube, yeah.
But the tube didn't even go all the way out to where we were. Like they had a special second railroad that went just to this area.
What did they call that other second railroad?
The DLR, the Docklands Light Rail.
Yeah, that's
So
it.
the tube is a railroad?
The tube is like their subway.
Oh, okay.
I always expect they're going to have like all their transportation has dirty names.
That's what it sounds like.
Because the tube just sounds
Yeah.
filthy, you know.
And all the DLR trains are kind of cool because they don't have drivers in them. So it's like the airport shuttle at DFW where you just get in and you don't know, like it just goes on its own. So
It's like the car from Total Recall.
yeah,
The car.
or Minority Report also, right?
Yeah,
Where
Yeah.
Gav said that when he took the DLR in, he sat at the front and pretended like he was the conductor, like he was driving the train. But yeah, it was weird. Like that venue is going to be one of the Olympic venues in 2012.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so they had like a little London 2012 pop-up shop in there. Oh God, I just remembered something else. So there was like the weirdest mix of people ever at this event. Normally, you go to a convention and it's like the whole convention hall is whatever your nerd event is. Mm-hmm. At this one, there was like our event was going on, but there was also a Britain and Ireland's Next Top Model event going on at the same time.
So that's where all the good-looking girls came from.
Yeah, so it was weird. Like you'd be walking, you'd be sitting out in the hall, and people would be walking to the different events. And at first, like before I knew the event was going, I was like, "Man, it looks like there's a lot of models here or something." There's a lot of really good-looking women, and then you'd see the people going to the MCM, and it was weird. You could easily tell who was going where, but you saw like crossover interaction a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like when the people going to the Next Top Model thing, I guess, were really interested in some of the costumes and some of the way that the other attendees were dressed. And I could see them approaching them and like talking to them and like holding the fabric and asking like questions about how they made their costume. It was kind of cool.
When we went to the last convention in Sydney, there was like a UFC thing going on, or like Ultimate Fighting Championship. There was a big portion of the event that was that, and then it's mostly like the typical nerd events, which aren't really like muscle-bound guys looking to punch each other's faces in for the most part. And I kept thinking at some point, there's going to like be some kind of brawl that breaks out where like somebody with a lightsaber replica accidentally pokes a UFC guy in the eye, and then just like it's going to be bloodshed everywhere. But thankfully that did not happen.
No.
In Melbourne,
Melbourne.
Can you came back
the
as
accent.
pronouncing it correctly? No, that's good. No,
pronouncing it incorrectly. That's not the American way.
well, I guess that's true.
Go ahead.
I had to do the introduction in the panel, and I heard right before then that it was pronounced a different way. So I was just sitting in the corner being like, Melbourne.
Did it cross your mind that maybe they were fucking with you?
No. So it's funny, like the convention hall, the other convention was a white collar PowerPoint presentation type group, and it was really weird seeing them pass by and always do double takes for like everybody in costume. But I figure like if you've never seen any of that and you're away on a corporate retreat, that must be the weirdest shit ever.
It'd probably be entertaining, though, at the same time. Get a break from all the corporate stuff.
Yeah, they're
going
probably
on,
they're probably used to seeing people in suits and.
But would you be mad if you were organizing the event? You're like, you didn't tell me this was going to be here. Like, it's definitely a distraction. It might take away.
I remember one time we were at Comic-Con at one of those giant hotels that's right next to the convention center, and there was this elderly couple that was walking around that looked fucking terrified. And there was because there was everybody in costumes running around, screaming, and just like so much chaos. And you can't get one of those hotel rooms unless you book it way, way, way in advance.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they booked it a year in advance or something, had no idea that this Comic-Con thing was going to be happening at the same time in the same place. And they must have thought they got dropped on an alien planet.
Huge generation gap right there, it sounds like.
So both of you guys have been in Australia, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do hoodlums look like? Because I saw a group, and they looked like they were up to no good. And I didn't know though. Like I realized like you don't know what people to stay away from.
Did
when
they
you're
look
not
like?
from that country.
Did they look like Carrie's friends?
No. They looked a little bit more or less 16.
They're wearing torn Kylie Minogue shirts and throwing meat pies. I guess I don't know. What would Hoodlums do?
I have no idea. Look like soccer hooligans.
There you go.
Oh no, that's England, isn't it?
That's England. You're
Yeah.
right. Can we call them soccer hooligans, or have to call them football hooligans?
Let's call them hooligans to be safe.
Hooligans, yeah.
It's
Do
universal.
you know they call American football there gridiron?
Gridiron. I
That's
love that.
way
name.
better.
Yeah, I wish that we called it gridiron.
I like that.
That sounds way more hardcore. And
One Sunday
Yeah.
night gridiron.
Yeah.
I'm down
oh
with
yeah.
that.
Yeah, that's an awesome name.
Let's do it. Let's start it.
I wonder
It starts here.
if like the NFL or like the Americans came up with that term to try to market it overseas, or if they came up with that term on their own. Because if they came up with that term on their own, I think we should have like a management change here. People are obviously doing it wrong.
Yeah,
Whoever
exactly.
came up with the name gridiron is a fucking genius.
They get a promotion. So did you watch any sports? Any Australian like cricket or anything like that?
No.
guys got any games?
I tried watching Australian rugby. It was just confusing. It's funny. We got
Wait, rugby or Aussie rules football?
Aussie rules football.
Okay.
Sorry. We got to.
I still don't know the difference.
Yeah.
Do you know the difference?
I tell you, there's a key difference. The key difference is people understand the rules for rugby. People just get drunk and cheer at Aussie rules football.
But isn't it now called Aussie Rules Gridiron?
So
When I was there, I couldn't figure out any of the sports, and actually, I wanted to figure out the sports. I thought it seemed cool and interesting. There was this one restaurant down the street from where we were staying, and we would go there kind of like for lunch a lot of the time. And I went in one day and was watching a cricket game on TV, and I was like, "Oh, this is cool." And it's like trying to pay attention, trying to follow it. It's kind of hard, but you get a little bit of what's going on. And I went back the next day around the same time, and it's like, "Oh, this is a good game as well. Is this the same game I was watching yesterday? Is this a rerun?" And I was asking somebody, it was like, no, they just like they play one game for
Yeah.
like 4 days.
Yeah,
or
it goes on for like
something.
3 or 4 days.
Yeah, it was like, and it looked exactly the same thing I had seen yesterday. It was just they were still continuing in the same
Yeah.
game they had from before.
Yeah, those games last a long time.
Do they get to change clothes and stuff and
Yeah.
like see their families? It almost sounds like a prison term. You must hit a ball with a stick.
So did you said you saw some Aussie rules football?
Yeah, I had no idea what was going on.
I-
It was
I-
just- and how like out of the loop I am, or we. I guess we were. We had no idea that. We got to New Zealand and we are like, oh, let's go to the rotating restaurant. In
Auckland?
in
Yeah.
Auckland, yeah. And so we get there and we're trying to make reservations. We can't park. We're like, what's going on? It turns out New Zealand just won the World Cup the day before.
Oh, right.
And so they were having a giant parade, and we had no clue. The All Blacks,
Yeah, the All Blacks.
That's pretty cool.
which is they have a mascot, yellow mascot with dreadlocks. Just feels really uncomfortable. The whole thing, the whole situation.
The team name was All
Yeah, that's like
the
that's
All
like
Blacks, yeah.
Oh, okay.
with a dreadlock mascot. It's just I don't know if it's context. It's really weird.
I ate at that rotating restaurant last time I was in Auckland. So where were you staying? Was the event near that rotating restaurant or was it somewhere else?
No, it was nowhere near there. It was down by the racetrack, close to it. It didn't really feel so much like a convention center as it did
Racetrack.
a playground,
Okay.
or a fairground.
Yeah, when I went, the event was right there, like 2 blocks from that rotating restaurant. There's a little convention center there, and that's where we had it. So that's why, like, when I was giving you suggestions on stuff to do, it was nowhere near where you were, I guess. It was all in that area right there.
No, but it was near the casino, which I got to know when I was losing money.
How much did you lose?
Well, first I went up. I won about $200. I was like,
Is that American money or New Zealand money?
this is Monopoly, New Zealand money.
What's the exchange rate? Do you know?
I think it's 80%. I got $200 New Zealand for $160 American.
Okay.
So I went in with $150. I turned that into like $350, and I was like, "This is so awesome!" I took money and I made that more money.
What were you playing?
I was playing roulette.
Okay.
So then I went back the next day and I was like, "I'm going to make this even more money," and I lost it all. I lost it all, everything. It's all gone, man.
Wow. Were you just betting like on red or black or?
Yeah, I was doing red or black as a safety. It's like 49% chance, and then betting on the thirds.
Yeah.
Because that's still relatively okay odds and a pretty good payout. And it worked for a while. And then I would do something where I'd like, all right, I'm going to just put it all on. Well, not put all. I'm going to put a whole shitload on just this one bet because, like, odds are, I'll probably be okay.
So much did you lose?
About $150.
American.
New Zealand.
Oh, New Zealand.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's not too.
That's like
bad.
It's not. It's not. But you once you win a lot, and it's all gone, man.
Yeah.
That feeling of failure almost.
Have you ever gone to Vegas, Kara?
No, I have not. I would love to go, but I've been to one casino. I went to the one up in Oklahoma.
There's a casino in Oklahoma?
There's a couple.
The Indian reservation.
Windstar.
Windstar. Okay.
This portion of the podcast brought to you by Windstar.
I ended up winning $200.
What were you playing? Blackjack?
I actually was playing video poker.
Video poker. The video poker is the one thing I can't figure out. Like, it doesn't seem like that's something you should go to a casino to play. I know it's very popular, and I guess it's the same way about the slot machines.
I was 18 at the time, so I was just kind of trying to learn the ropes. Of how to play,
Yeah, there's less pressure. I think that you're.
I
less,
guess I can see that. Yeah.
The thing I don't get is, like, when you're playing, like, let's say, for example, video poker, it's like, there's no physical cards or anything. It's all software.
Right.
Like, when does it, like, decide, okay, you can win now. Oh, no, you're going to lose. Like, it just seems
It's
so
almost
much
like
more
a game of-
arbitrary. Like,
Yeah.
it can cheat a lot more than if you have a deck of cards and you're going through them.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have that level of trust.
What is the law there? It's like the payout has to be like 97%, right?
Oh,
Like
I don't know.
I think that there's a rule like they can only take in so much money and they have to return so much in payouts, and I think it's like 97%. Like there's in Clark County, you know. But like it seems like with those machines, it's like they've got it down to a science.
Yeah.
They know exactly to the nickel, you know, how much money you're going to make.
Or if, like, the rest of the casino's making too much money, they use those machines
Yeah.
like, to offset
Yeah.
it,
Just soak
to,
it
like,
back
give
up.
people money.
Slot machines are amazing. Like when I sat down for the first time, when I got to Vegas, you get it. Like you get why people just sit there because it's like, ooh, lights, sound.
No, I don't get it.
Colors.
I don't get it, though.
There's some that are so crazy.
No, I mean I understand how people just get addicted. It's just so much like stimulus to your brain. It's just this weird form of like pleasure to losing money.
Yeah, I've never understood it. I've never been a big gambler, I guess, in general.
Me neither.
It's dumb,
But
dude.
it
It's
just-
just stupid.
Yeah.
Did Joel? Oh, never mind. We'll let Joel tell
Yeah.
his stories later.
Speaking of big gamblers.
'Cause I know he loves to gamble. He talked about it, about that Vegas trip recently on the podcast a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, but Joel's been finding all sorts of ways to lose money lately.
I can't wait to get an update from him. So I'm surprised to see you in the office today. Didn't you just land last night, Brendan?
Yesterday, but we had a long layover, I guess, and so it's been a lot easier adjusting. Luckily, there was a mechanical problem with the plane.
That's always lucky.
I was going to say,
To
lucky
where-
him.
Yes, excellent.
to where I had a good amount of time to sleep on the way to Dallas, but
And then thank God the next plane was on fire.
I fell asleep, and then I vaguely remember waking up and them talking about how it's going to be some more time. They don't know if they can fix the plane. We're going to see. Went to sleep. Woke up again. They're like, they don't think we're going to be able to fix the plane. We're going to have to switch planes. Fell asleep. Woke up in the air. Fell asleep. Woke up, and we were in Dallas, which is good because I would have freaked the fuck out.
Now on the overseas flight, you were in coach, and Joel was in some kind of space age Darth Vader pod.
Yeah,
Is
no,
that
no,
correct?
no. He was in first class. And one of those giant planes, they have not just seats; they have these pods. Like
Those
you literally
pods are
like walk in
awesome.
from the back, and it looks like it's the Darth Vader pod that he's erupting from before he talks to the Empire. Before he talks to the Emperor.
Did they try to hit you with sticks when you went into the first class area? Could they like
It
smell
was
the
like
stench
it was
of
like a
coach
different
on you?
floor, man. It was. I
different-
couldn't
was it
even. I
really?
couldn't even get there if I wanted to. It was ridiculous.
That's a lock on the door.
Yeah.
You didn't have the passcode.
You have to know the secret knock.
There were guns. There was just like a little turret, like right above, like following you around as you get close.
How drunk was Joel when he got off the plane?
Dude, he claims he didn't sleep at all. I was just like, you
Just
can't
drank?
sleep in first class. Like,
That's nuts.
Yeah.
Man, yeah, I can't imagine being in that area and for that flight. And then, did it make you like really jealous? Were you like really bitter when you got off the plane about it?
I was just happy to be there.
Yeah.
How long was the flight?
It was like 14 hours, but it was like a lot. We flew to LA and there was only like a couple hour layover, so it was literally about 26 hours of traveling.
Yeah.
Especially since we ran out of fuel.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Ran out of fuel. Didn't not have enough fuel to make it.
So you had to stop in Sydney on the way there?
Yeah, we stopped in Sydney to fuel up. I was like, why don't you just? They have refuel planes. Let's just bring one of those. And
your final destination at Melbourne. So you stopped in Sydney, and then how long of another flight is it from Sydney to Melbourne?
It was probably another hour, an hour and a half. We couldn't get off the plane. Like, they didn't let us off the plane. We just refueled. Yeah.
So how long did it take to refuel?
Probably about an hour and a half.
Wow.
It was just.
Well, luckily
shitty.
you didn't run out of fuel when you were over the ocean.
Yeah.
What would you do then?
Yeah. Luckily we didn't have to crash in the ocean.
It would have been like Lost.
You know, the last time I came back from Australia, I was on the Sydney to LA flight, and I couldn't sleep either. It's like, it's the middle of the night, I guess, or it's dark outside.
Yeah, somewhere.
Somewhere. It's dark outside. At least you're supposed to be sleeping. And so I'm just flipping through the movie thing because those movie things they have now on the planes are unbelievable. There's like 50 movies you can watch, or 100. It's
they're
crazy.
awesome.
Yeah. And I found Inception, and I hadn't seen it quite a while, so I started watching it, but I was already kind of feeling, I was starting to feel kind of drowsy, and I had a couple drinks, and it was, I was getting a little bit loopy. And then at the end, turns out, the flight that they're on in the movie is that Sydney to LA flight. It's the same flight I was on.
Oh, right, yeah.
While I'm watching it. And I just got so weirded out by that. And then I was like, I really needed to fall asleep at that point. And I couldn't, my eyes started to close, and I would freak out that I was going to be inceptionized, if I went to sleep. But
that is a crazy coincidence.
It was weird. And, we finally got there, and my kid had a little spinning top, and he was doing that for me now.
You finally got to see his face.
I finally got to see his face. He finally turned around. No.
Did you see yesterday about that plane that landed in Warsaw with no landing gear?
Yeah,
that's crazy.
That was nobody hurt.
Yeah, it was a 767 that flew from New Jersey to Warsaw, and they had a hydraulic failure. Their landing gear would not deploy, so they landed on their belly.
I didn't think that would really work.
Wow.
They had to shut the airport down, I think, for a day because the plane was blocking the runways.
That pilot's a champ, man.
Yeah.
How do you tow out an airplane?
Did the people know? Did they announce?
They probably did. They probably made him get in crash position.
Yeah.
Oh man, when we flew.
What is crash position?
There's a couple of different ways you do it. You either do this on the seat in front of you, or you grab your legs like this and you hold. Depending on the type
like
of seat
fetal
you're on.
position, basically.
Yeah. Do you ever remember them showing how to do that position on any of the American airlines?
No.
Yeah. They show you on Qantas, and we're looking at that. I was like, that's so weird. Like, I've never seen.
It's in the pamphlet, in the booklet, in the safety booklet. If you ever actually flip through it, that's where it is. They don't demonstrate it, but it's in the booklet.
We watched it. We watched the video, and it was just like they would never do this on any American airline. Like, it would freak people the fuck out.
Did you see those Air New Zealand safety ads that came out with like 2 years ago, where it was like, instead of doing, like you said, it was a video. Instead of flight attendants performing in front of you, you would just watch this video, and it demonstrates all the safety features of your plane. Well, they made these videos, and they know that people don't watch them, so they decided to do something a little different to try to get people to watch the safety videos. Mm-hmm. All of the flight attendants in the video are nude with the new Air New Zealand uniform painted onto their body with body paint. So they do all the demonstrations in the nude, but it looks like they're wearing the uniform.
Way to get attention.
Yeah, in an effort to get people to watch them.
Mm-hmm.
Well, have you seen the naked news broadcasts?
Yeah,
Not as cool. Not as cool as you.
Once when we first started Rooster Teeth, Naked News contacted us. Do you remember this, Matt?
No.
It was like 03 or 04. Naked News contacted us and wanted to do an interview. Except...
Did they want us to be naked?
No, the thing was, they did not want us to be naked. But Jeff and I insisted if they interviewed us that we had to be naked. they never replied after that. We were like, we'll totally do it. We have to be naked. They were not down with that.
I don't remember who the porn star was, but I do remember we got contacted at some point by a porn star asking us to do some kind of co-promotion. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of who it was.
That was, I want to say, like 2004 or 2005. And it was like, hey, just... And like the wording of the letter was creepy too. Like, I'm just putting out a feeler to see if you guys would like to...
It was like some porn video game, right?
Maybe that's what it was.
Yeah, and they wanted us to like make some kind of story.
But that makes slightly more sense.
It was like a vanity project.
Yeah,
like porn video game.
Right.
Yeah, it was really odd.
I cannot for the life of me remember who that was.
I play that game all the time though. It's great game.
Yeah, names don't matter. Gameplay. As long as the gameplay is good, that's all that matters.
That's right.
The last time I went to New Zealand, probably I guess I should preface this with another story first. I always get a little nervous when I fly internationally when I get to like customs and immigration.
Yeah.
Because I'm always afraid that, I'm going to get pulled out of line. They're going to ask me what I'm doing. I'm going to get sent back to my own country.
If we have to start talking about it, it gets really dicey really fast because no one believes you when you say, I work on the internet.
Yeah, like I never know.
Sounds like a lie.
They always ask occupation on those forms, and I never know what to put.
Yeah.
And so, like, I always put filmmaker. And they ask me, I'm like, yeah. And they're like, where's your camera? I didn't bring it.
When I went to Vancouver last, I made a terrible misstep right off the bat because we were going to watch. It was at Ken West.
Yeah.
And so we were going to like watch a movie. I think it was the first thing we were doing. I had just gotten the schedule from Dominic, and so that was what was on my mind. And the guy, custom guy, that goes, "So why are you here?" And I go, "I'm gonna go see a movie." It's like you can see like giant red flags appear in his eyes, And he goes, "Who are you going to see the movie with?" And I said, some friends." And I was like, "Oh man, now I'm really veering off course." And he goes, "Oh yeah, how do you know these friends?" "From the internet, And he's like, "Have you really ever met them before?" I was like, "Well, not in real life. Does that matter?"
Oh my god! But when we were the line to get through immigration at Heathrow this time was really long. It took a long time, and when we were wading through it, I noticed there was like there's two different lines, right? There's a line for people who are UK citizens, and there's a line for everyone else. So we're in the everyone else line. The UK line is kind of next to us, but between the two of us is like this little seating area with like 3 benches or 4 benches, and it's roped off. And I thought, that's really weird. I guess if you get tired, they let you sit there. I don't know what I was thinking. And then as I'm waiting in line, I see that they start pulling people out of line, and that's like the timeout area.
What?
That's like where they put you if they have further questions about
if you're suspicious.
the purpose of your visit, if you're suspicious. So they don't take them to another room. They just sit them in there, and they make them wait. And then after a while...
On display for everybody to see and point at.
So, I was, depending on where I was in the line, I was as close as, across this table to them. Like, imagine you guys are detained, and I'm waiting in line to go, try to get to the immigration control. And they started filling it with people, and I guess they weren't English speakers, so they brought some other woman over to translate. And there's 2 immigration officers. This woman who's translating, and this man who's asking the questions. And the man asking the questions is like getting in their face and screaming, like, "I don't believe you. What are you trying to get into my country?" And the woman's like sitting there, like she's also getting angry and like in their face, repeating the same question in another language. And it's like, your story doesn't add up. And then they're just yelling at them. And then finally, like the guy like throws his clipboard down and like storms off. And I was like, what the fuck? And this is like when I'm right next to them.
In the middle of everybody.
And I'm like, and this is like out in the open. Like this is not like in a back closed door area. And then they still keep filling the area with more people. Like, what the fuck is going on?
Did the translation woman grab the clipboard and slam it?
So this is the translation of that clipboard slam. Ding.
She walked off also. And I don't know what happened to those people. They were there after I left as well.
The transparency, I guess, is good, but it makes it seem like that's the kind of airport where they would have the nude body scanning machine, you know, and they would turn it around so everybody could see it,
Right.
Well, I had to go through that machine on the way back. Like, we flew from London to Dulles in D.C. to Austin. And coming through London, like, you don't have to take your shoes off. You just go through a normal metal detector. It was nice.
Yeah.
But then when you land in Dulles, you get off the plane, they make you go through security, like... you go through immigration, then you go through security again before you get back on the plane to go wherever you go. And then, of course, I had to take my shoes off. I had to go through the body scanner. And
I think the worst airport for that is L.A., actually, you know, because even you have to change from the Tom Bradley International Terminal to one of the other terminals. And you have to get on a bus sometimes, you know, to go from one to the other. It's ridiculous how it's just completely separated. Yeah,
the LAX is weird. It's like you drive in that horseshoe shape, and it's just a bunch of different... It's like 8 different terminals, right?
Yeah.
It's huge.
And, like, the first thing you're thinking would be great to do after you get off a 17-hour flight is get on a bus.
Yeah.
You know?
Very convenient.
Just so you can go to another plane for another 3 hours.
So we landed in L.A., and we go through customs, and we have to wait for the bag. Of course, it's a huge plane. Bag takes about, 25 minutes to get there. And then we just go through a couple more checks, and they just look at the passport, and that's it. And you walk into another room, and then there's just this baggage area, and they're like, all right, we'll take your bag. You have a connecting flight. And it's like, really? Like, why did I have to walk it here?
Yeah.
Like, why did I have to walk it 20 feet? Like, why couldn't you just
But they
You didn't check it. You didn't look in it. Like,
they want you there for accountability purposes, and if they pull you aside, they want to see what's in your bag as well.
I guess.
Match the bag to the person.
Right.
Felt like they were laughing at me. I got in the same trouble as you. They were asking me why I was there, and I said, "Oh, this convention." They're like, "What kind of convention?" I was like, "Oh, a comic book convention." They're like, "You sell comic books?" And I was like, "Well," it devolved into like this 3-minute explanation of what we do for a living.
Yeah.
Which is never easy to tell anybody who doesn't know about it, much less a security officer at the airport.
The last time I went through immigration at New Zealand, it was a really long line, and like you said, the plane, everyone got off the plane, everyone gets in line, and like I said, I always get a little nervous, and I got up to the front, and I give the guy my passport, and I feel like he's staring at it for a long time. He's looking at me and looking at the passport, like, oh fuck, there's something he doesn't like here, and he looks at me and he goes, "You're Gus from Red vs. Blue, aren't you?" And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I am. And he's like, "Oh, I was such a big fan, I love it." And he starts talking, and it starts getting uncomfortable because I feel like my line's not moving, and I feel like attention is starting to turn towards me, like from other officers, like, what's going on? What's taking so long over there? So like I freaked out, and I knew at that event that Billy West was going to be there, who does a voice actor
from Futurama.
From Futurama and other things. So I turn around and I look behind me, and I can see there's a couple people behind me. So I told the guy, I was like, You love Red vs. Blue, right? He goes, "Yeah." I go, "Do you like Futurama?" He goes, "Oh, yeah, I love Futurama." I go, "Look, that's Billy West right over there." He goes, "Oh, shit." And he, stamps my passport and lets me go through to try to get to Billy West. It was like the quickest way for me to try to get out of there was to, deflect to someone else.
I would be scared in that circumstance. It's like the beginning of, a suspense movie kind of plot where the guy, he recognizes you, so he marks something special on your form.
Right.
Yeah.
And then he goes off to the bathroom and dies or something. And some other, customs agent has to come take over and sees that your form is specially marked. And then you get hauled off into the brig somewhere and harassed, and then the 4-foot dildo comes out.
This clipboard's being thrown down.
Clipboard's being thrown. It's a whole crazy thing.
Anthony Hopkins shows up, and he's your new partner.
The last time I was in the New Zealand airport, we had just arrived, and we were at the place where you're getting your bags. I think it's one of those in-between places where you get the bags, but then you're taking them somewhere else, like Brandon was saying. And they had the dogs, the drug-sniffing dogs that were going around. And usually you just see those dogs, and they're just kind of walking around the airport. They're not really stopping anywhere. And my son, was 3 at the time, and he's pointing at the dog. And he's I think he said something like, "Daddy, that dog really likes those people." And I look over, and there's 2 kind of Rastafarian kind of young kids, and they've got dreadlocks and everything, and that dog is all up in the business. I think after a while, the dog kind of gave up. He couldn't find the specific spot. It was just
everywhere.
And the dog kind of backed off, and the dog handler looked down at the dog, and his expression was "Come on, seriously?" And he's like, "Get back in there, dog. I know you're going to find something."
You could find it.
But we went off on
So
our
that's
way.
the solution to sneak drugs into another country.
Yes.
Just stink like drugs everywhere.
Code it.
Everywhere.
That dog was he was in their hair. He was just everywhere.
I didn't know they also looked for drugs in New Zealand, because I saw the dogs, but they were just looking for food. Because New Zealand's hardcore about bringing in fruit or seeds from anything else.
I think that might be more of what it is than even the drug thing. Is that immigration thing? If you can't bring in different plants,
They also have dogs that can smell money.
do they really?
Yeah, because it's not illegal to carry a large amount of money, but you have to
Certain
declare
amount.
it. And when you carry more than that amount of money, it's normally suspicious. Why do you have over $10,000 in cash
Right.
on you? So they have dogs that can smell money as well.
It's like the idea that they're specially trained
I
dogs.
want one of those dogs.
Does Joel know about this? That seems like it would be his dog of choice. Just take that dog out in the world anywhere and just let it lead him to money.
Yeah, it's crazy the amount of things a dog can smell.
They have a dog that can smell gold.
Speaking of which, there was this guy who came by on Saturday to our booth who was dressed like Grease. I know that doesn't sound like that makes sense.
Just like Greece. Oh, the country
The country Grease. He was cosplaying the country Grease, and he had little Greek flags, and he was asking everyone for euros. It was really funny.
That is funny.
I wish I'd gotten a picture of him, but I didn't get it at first.
We just put a shirt in the store that's my country entered a period of monetary devaluation followed by a cycle of unemployment, and all I got was this lousy T-shirt. inspired by Joel and True Events.
Do we really have that in our show?
Yeah, we do.
Wow.
That's a big thing now. People coming up to Joel and they're just like, "Hey, Joel, double gold! Hey,
I'm sure
do
he
the
hates
double
that.
gold thing. Talk about gold."
Oh man, people love that stuff. They love hearing Joel rant about the financial system, and I'm glad that we have the animated adventures now to get that out to a wider audience. Yours just came out last week, Kara.
Yes, it did.
I think people really liked it.
I thought it was pretty funny.
I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah.
And that happens. That's real life.
Oh, yes.
Right? Kids, you're knocking down their ice cream cones all the time.
People want that. People want you to knock ice cream out. Has anyone come by the office yet like that?
Yeah, actually, I did knock out one person's ice cream out of their hands. He came by for a tour, and I gave him a tour, and after he was done, he was like, "Oh no, I forgot something. I'll be right back." And he left and comes back with one of those like gas station drumsticks that's already
the
made
ice
in the
cream.
package. And I think I came in and I told you guys about it. And you were busy editing the podcast or something, so you're like, "Be sure you do it in front of the security camera."
I gotta go back and find it. I forgot about that.
But it was so funny, and I was like, okay, and got, my stance all set up and just swung as hard as I could at it, and it broke, and then I felt bad, and I was like, "I'm sorry, I don't want to be rude," and I gave him a hug afterwards, because I was like...
He wanted it. There's
oh, he loved it.
People
It
at the
was
New
funny.
York event kept coming up to the booth nonstop asking for you because they wanted you to knock with ice cream in their hands because they wanted you to knock ice cream out of their
He was
hands.
moaning though as you were doing it. It was kind of weird, but I get it.
And then you guys covered New York already on the podcast?
Yeah,
New York
we talked about
that.
New
Sounds
York.
like a pretty good event.
We
You
had
could get
we
beer.
had some good stories. I'm sure there's going to be some animated adventures that come from it. But I'll give you a quick overview of the highlights.
Yeah. I have one highlight
Mike-
from the outside perspective.
Michael and Chris met a drug dealer named Kevin
Nice.
in Times Square who gave them his business card.
Yes, I heard that in the last podcast. I was
So what was your highlight from an outside perspective?
That we had the two booths essentially this year because
Oh,
we
yeah.
had our distributor had a booth
Yeah.
that had the stand up with Caboose where you could take a picture, and some members of my family that lived in New York had been to the screening at Lincoln Center that we did years and years ago, and they went to the other booth, and their daughter took a picture with Caboose in the stand up, which is really cool, and they sent it out to family and stuff, and then her mom was like, "Hey, this is so cool because we, my cousin does this, and we were at the Lincoln Center event, years ago." And I think the distributor people, they had never heard that we did a Lincoln Center event. And they were like, "No, you're thinking of something else." That's wrong with that. And then it devolved into, they got in a big, shouting match over,
Oh, my God.
"Yes, no, it's really real," and stuff like that. But so, my family ruined that event.
Yeah, so we're done with events for a while till next year, which is good.
Well, way to go out with a bang.
Yeah. We, in fact, I'm glad you mentioned booking Comic-Con hotels so far in advance because normally in November is when we book San Diego Comic-Con hotels, so I need to
Man.
probably go do that after we're done recording this podcast.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's totally insane.
What do you think? Do you think we'll do a lot of events again next year, or do you think we'll scale back to normal? Normally, most years we only do the PAXs and San Diego Comic-Con.
Yeah.
This year we kind of went a little crazy and did a whole bunch of
I don't
them.
know. It's hard to say. I think, it seemed to go well this year, for the most part. We've got a lot coming up with RTX. Mm-hmm. I guess we haven't really talked too much about that yet, right?
No, there should be news on that very soon. I think we're near a point where we can start talking about that.
Yeah. So that'll take a lot of our resources.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think all the events that we went to this year were a lot of fun. It was nice that a lot of the people in the office who hadn't gone to events before got to do some.
I think everyone except for Kara has been to one now.
I know, I guess I'm...
You did RTX
We
this
get-
year. We'll have to.
We're going to take her to that ice cream convention.
Holy shit! No, we should take her somewhere and sell ice cream in the booth for $10 a cone. And then if you want Kara to knock it out, it's an additional $5. To make a fucking killing. Well, we're always looking for stuff to do in the booth. A little more interactivity. I think it's a good thing.
I like it.
Yeah, I like other places. I thought the Australia trip, New Zealand trip went really well. And Matt, you went to Sydney, right?
I went to Sydney earlier this year with Jeff. We had a really good time. And Griffin. What else did we do?
It's nice to be able to do the international stuff.
Yeah, I feel like
People.
even if we don't do other domestic events, I'd like to keep at least one Australia New Zealand event and maybe do the one in the UK again.
Yeah, the one thing I really like about going to do the events, far overseas, is that they're so appreciative about us coming out. And I don't know if it's because they're so far away, it's hard to get, people to come out for events like that or whatever. But I mean, the reception we always get in Australia and New Zealand is just off the charts.
Yeah, same in the UK. Everyone was so nice. I mean, people
Yeah.
brought lots of liquor. People brought we had so much scotch and and gin, and someone brought some coffee. And
I didn't notice that you brought that back
snacks.
to the office.
you can't bring it on the plane. Oh, so I had to drink it all.
What a hardship.
We drank almost all of it. I think we had like 4 bottles of scotch and a bottle of gin, and I think we had like a little bit of 1 bottle of scotch left at the end of it.
Wow.
We fucking powered through it.
That's a good convention, all right.
Yeah. And
So
then-
no merchandise, but we still turned a profit.
Yeah, we still got drunk. So we had all that. People brought snacks and like all kinds of food, like from I don't know what most of the stuff was. I guess
Yeah.
it's like British stuff. Speaking of British stuff, I ate a disgusting sandwich on the flight on the way back.
That's so unusual for us having gone to the UK. They're known for their
Great
delightful
sandwiches.
food.
Well, they invented the sandwich. So, like, I'm sitting there and they give me they throw the sandwich at me. It was an awful flight on the way back. Anyway, the sandwich gets thrown at me. It's in like a plastic bag. So I open it up and it's a cold sandwich. It's obviously been in the refrigerator, and it's ham and cheese and what looks like some kind of cream spread on it, like I don't know, cream cheese or something. I'm like, all right. So I take a bite out of it. And I'm like, that spread's really weird. And the spread's thick. Like that thick. You can't see on the podcast. But anyway, so it's like a white cheddar ham, and I can't figure out the spread. And I take another bite, and I'm like, that's butter.
Oh, I've had a butter ham and cheese sandwich
Yeah.
over there before.
It was
Yeah,
a cold ham and cheese and butter sandwich.
that's a lot of butter though.
It was thick. It was like as thick as the cheese was.
Ew.
And I was so hungry on that plane that I ate the entire thing. I was like, oh, what's wrong with me? Or what's wrong with them making the sandwich with butter on it?
It's weird what everybody's like what we'll think of as a normal food, but you change one thing about it and it gets really weird. You know,
You're
Or
expecting like the cream
thing.
cheese or something, but it's butter.
Yeah, like the
Even
big
cream
thing,
cheese would have been weird.
the thing in Australia I could not get over was that they put fucking beets on their hamburgers.
Oh, I hate that. I hate
Why do
that
they
shit.
do that?
Burgers are just weird, man.
Even the
Really,
meat's
they're also
different.
like ground meat,
Yeah.
right? They're not like formed
Yeah.
patties. They're like they've been shredded or something.
I had to ask for
The
no
meat's weird.
pineapple
Really?
in the burger.
Yeah.
They're like, so, do you want it to the side? I was like, no.
I'm like, no, fucking,
No
throw it away.
Throw all of it away and never offer it again on your menu.
You know, I normally never eat breakfast, but on these trips, like you get jet lag and your body thinks it's a different time. So on these trips, I'll typically eat breakfast.
Yeah.
And I always think it's something you said the first time we went to New Zealand. We sat down and we ate breakfast at the hotel, and you talked about how much you love breakfast because it's the one meal where it's okay to get as many drinks as you want.
It's true.
Like you could have coffee, various juices, water, milk.
And if you need hair of the dog, you can have a little whiskey
Yeah.
or a beer or something. Nobody's going to say, hey. It's true.
I always think about that, like how breakfast is the special meal where you get. So now, whenever I do eat breakfast, I make sure I line up as many drinks as I can. Since I
All
pointed
the
it out, it's like
options.
I want to be able to drink everything.
If you're a beverage lover, breakfast is your meal.
Breakfast is made for beverage lovers. But yeah, we actually ate. There's this Caribbean place, oddly enough, across the street from our hotel. It was like the only restaurant out there that we ate at that was really fucking good.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
It was amazing.
What'd you eat there?
I had jerk chicken, but it was actually kind of spicy, and it was seasoned really well. It was juicy. It was awesome. So if you're in Docklands, I highly recommend Caribbean Scene
Interesting.
at the Royal Victoria Dock.
Whenever it's like when you're in the U.S. and you're eating, other cultural cuisine like Chinese food or Caribbean food or Mexican food or whatever, it's not like definitively that culture's way of making the food, but we are so ingrained to what we think it's supposed to taste like here. Whenever you go overseas to another place and they make it differently, to me it's always like they're trying to impersonate what it would taste like if it was American style Chinese food or one of those other ones. It's like it's the weirdest experience. It's like the thing with the pineapples on the hamburger. You'll get like some kind of very typical Chinese food like an egg roll, and it'll have beets inside it, or who knows what.
One
Potatoes.
night we had dinner, or I guess a couple of nights we had dinner at the hotel we were staying at, and one of the menu items you could order was braised faggots. And it was like all the other menu items. It says braised faggots. Then under it's like faggots means meatballs, or like something else. It was like an explanation of what it said. I guess they got sick enough of hearing it constantly.
We're not going to change it.
Yeah.
We're just going to asterisk clarify.
So you ordered the faggots and got balls in your mouth.
Yes.
Is that what happened?
That's exactly what happened.
I knew this trip was going to be good because on the first day we were there, I ate a kangaroo.
Did you really eat a
Yes,
kangaroo?
and as soon as we got that's what I wanted to eat something I couldn't eat in America, and I ate a kangaroo. My only complaint is that I couldn't pick out the exact kangaroo that I ate. Like, I wanted to be able to go to like a reserve and say that one. I want to eat that kangaroo.
like with the lobsters in the tank.
Yes.
You picked it?
and they give you a knife, and you get to like
Then you
fight
can
it.
fight it, yeah.
It's got the boxing gloves, and
That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to box a kangaroo, but Brandon's way more brutal than me. I guess he's like,
I hear a kangaroo will fuck you up with its hind legs.
oh yeah,
yeah.
because
It, like leans back on its tail.
Yeah.
Koalas too, man. They're terrifying. Stay away from a koala.
The
Like a death grip.
Yeah,
just
their
like
nails
grab you
are
and just
huge.
like
Yeah.
But I think Katie from the RT Oz group told me that eating kangaroos is considered a very good thing. Like, you're supposed to eat kangaroos because it's
Almost like a delicacy?
no, more like it's local and they have a lot of kangaroos, so it's not like they're
An endangered species or something.
Yeah, and it's not like they're using up the land with cattle that need a lot of water and
I guess
right.
that's
and
true.
it's more
They're out in the wild
It's better,
anyway,
like
yeah.
ecologically and environmentally, it's better to eat kangaroos.
Interesting.
Apparently,
So kangaroo.
So that's how they spin it to try to get people to eat kangaroos in Australia.
Also, you're supposed to eat Aborigines. Apparently, no. But so apparently, Brandon, you're doing your part to protect Australian environment and wildlife.
I just want to clarify, in no way was that my motivation, my thinking. I just wanted to eat a kangaroo.
All right. Okay, well, we should probably wrap this up. I know people hate it when I say that. But thank you for joining us, everyone. And hopefully next week we will have more of, or we'll tell the story of Australia and New Zealand.
With Bernie and Joel.
Yes.
Yeah, I am going to be doing a lot of. I'm going to be on the defensive mode.
Okay, I'll play ref. All right, so thanks for listening.
All right, bye.
Bye.